Good Tuesday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by the Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joe Everett. Well, currently 32 degrees outside here at the farm this morning. We do stay dry today. Unfortunately, I can't say that for the rest of the week, but we will see a high today in the low 50s. Well, agricultural producers who have not yet enrolled in the agricultural risk coverage or price loss coverage programs for the 2025 crop year have until April 15th to revise elections and sign contracts. Both safety net programs delivered by the USDA's Farm Service Agency provide vital income support to eligible farmers who have experienced substantial declines in crop prices or revenues for the 2025 crop year. If you have not made your program elections or signed the contract, please contact your local FSA county office as soon as possible to set up an appointment so you don't miss the April 15th deadline. Now let's check in for an update on soy foam. Here's Dusty Sonneberg.
I'm visiting today with Brandon Kern. Brandon's with the Ohio Soybean Council and Ohio Soybean Association. Brandon, we are at a soy foam demonstration. Talk a little bit about maybe the nexus of this. Where did the whole idea come from?
Yeah, so we wanted to bring the company that has developed this product is called Crossplane Solutions. And, over the course of the last year, we're hearing more and more about PFAS, forever chemicals in existing firefighting foams. The Governor DeWine, last year started a take-back program to get those existing firefighting foams that have those forever chemicals off the street, destroy that stuff. We wanted to start to connect the dots for fire departments here in Ohio about this great product that's soy-based, that does not have those forever chemicals in it, and make them aware that they've got an alternative product out there that's environmentally friendly, it supports farmers, and so we wanted to bring them here to Ohio to do this demonstration here in Pickaway County today.
Well, I'd say there's probably as much excitement among the firefighting community as there is the farming community.
Absolutely. It sounds like we're just listening to some of these guys talking to each other as we're burning a couple cars out here and watching them, put this stuff out with the foam. And I think everybody's pretty excited about it. There's been great response from across the country. There are other state soybean associations that are doing these demonstrations all across the country, and I think there's been more and more adoption of this product out there, which is exciting, right? It's great for firefighters, it's great for the community. You don't have to worry about the forever chemicals getting in drinking water and the soil anymore, and it's great for farmers, right? Because we're building demand for soybeans, which is really important right now.
Absolutely. So what's the next step from here?
So we're working on a couple of things. One, the Ohio Soybean Council has just recently, our last board meeting, made a commitment for some financial resources to help fire departments acquire soy-based firefighting foam. So we're going to be working on making connections and doing some marketing of this product around the state. And we're going to have some farmer checkoff dollars in there to help these fire departments acquire this product and replace their existing foam. We're also working on the policy front in the state budget process to see if this really lines up with Governor DeWine's priorities for this issue. He wants to get the forever chemical stuff off the street. We think it makes a lot of sense. We're making the argument and working with fire departments to make the argument that let's provide some financial assistance from the state level to help them acquire a replacement product. This is one of the options that they could do that with.
Sounds great. Good work ahead. Again, my guest today, Brandon Kern with the Ohio Soybean Association.
Hey, thanks, Dusty, for the update. Stay tuned. We'll be back with today's weather after this.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
You're tuning back in on the Ohio AgNet. Today's weather brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Dry weather here for your Tuesday, but we've got plenty of moisture coming the rest of this week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. For today, continued dry down after the rains from the weekend. I think we see good sunshine today. Yes, it's a little bit on the chilly side, especially after those very cold lows this morning, but we're bouncing okay today. Warmer air is definitely on the way for tomorrow and Thursday, but in that warmer air, There's rain and thunderstorm activity. Rain starts tomorrow mid to late morning, continues through the evening and overnight, right on through Thursday. There's going to be several waves of strong to severe weather, especially overnight tomorrow night through Thursday morning. All in, all done, anywhere from a half to 2 inches of rain can be seen over Ohio, and I think most of us will be in the top half of that range. Now moving forward, overnight Thursday night into Friday, we are drier again. Friday probably turns out partly sunny, with temperatures not falling off as much as what we saw this past weekend. But we also have another round of significant moisture for this coming weekend. Saturday and Sunday both will feature rain and thunderstorms, some strong to severe. Another half to 2 inch rainfall event is likely over that 2-day stretch. Colder air comes in behind that for next week. We are chilly for Monday through at least a Thursday, but we're also dry. I think as warmer air tries to come in late in the week, there's a slight bit of moisture later Friday into Saturday, but then we continue the dry vein for the week after, and that should allow us to think a little bit more about potential field work. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Well, the USDA says corn acres are up 5%. U.S. farmers will plant nearly 5 million more corn acres in 2025 compared to last year. In its 2025 prospective plantings report released yesterday, the agency pegged corn acres for the 2025-26 crop year at 95.3 million. This was up 5% from last year and above the average trade expectation. Soybean acres projected below last year at 83.5 million acres, below last year and the average trade expectation. Wheat acres were also pegged lower year over year at 45.4 million acres, below the trade expectation of 46.5. USDA also released its quarterly grain stocks report yesterday. Corn stocks were in line with the average trade expectation and lower year over year. Soybean and wheat, however, were higher than the average trade expectations and higher year over year. Well, President Donald Trump this week is set to unveil his reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners. Trump says Wednesday is the big one for the next move on trade policy, but is unclear how broad the new reciprocal duties will be based on recent messaging from the administration. The tariffs are supposed to vary depending on the size of the barriers the target country imposes on U.S. exports. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent suggested earlier this month that the initial reciprocal duties could focus on just 15 trade partners with which the U.S. has persistent trade deficits. But Trump told reporters last week that this week's tariffs announcement would, in fact, cover every country. New secondary tariffs on countries buying oil and gas from Venezuela could also be on the table, according to the Trump Truth Social post last week. Whatever comes, some trade partners are already signaling they are ready to respond. Now let's check back in with Dusty Sonnenberg for an update from the Clean Fuels Alliance.
I'm visiting today with Tom Berry with Clean Fuels Alliance America. Tom, a lot of exciting things going on, a lot of buzz in the industry right now, but a lot of that tied into 45Z tax credits. A lot of things probably to get sorted out with that yet, so we won't dig real deep into that. But some exciting things going on the demand side when it comes to renewable fuels. Give us an update maybe of some of the neat things that are happening with shipping, with rail, with all those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely, Dusty. That's the exciting equation of the supply-demand of our industry right now. I've been around biodiesel for 30 years. I've never seen the opportunities look so good for biodiesel than I do today. And we're seeing new industries, new markets that are looking to use biodiesel to help decarbonize their supply chain. I know Ohio Soybean, Maddie Corby, is working with our petroleum team on some Great Lake shipping companies to get biodiesel on the Great Lakes, which is real exciting. And we're also working with the Class 1 railroads like Norfolk Southern. They've all committed to decarbonization goals. They see biodiesel as the fuel they want to use to get to reach their carbon goals. So I know Norfolk Southern, I'm sure they run through Ohio quite a bit. Yep. They want to get to 20% biodiesel blends in a relatively short period of time, 5-6 years. They just started at 3% already. So very exciting times. And then the home heating oil market in the Northeast, we're seeing train loads of biodiesel leave the Midwest, head to the Northeast to supply them for bioheat. So they got a lot of pressure to decarbonize the home heat industry. And so the other options are air source heat pumps, which are fine. But if your home doesn't have one to retrofit, it costs $25,000, $30,000. Here you got biodiesel, you just change the fuel, not the heating system. And so there's a lot of opportunities there as well.
Again, my guest today is Tom Veary. He's with Clean Fuels Alliance America. Tom, thanks so much for the update and for all your work.
Thanks, Dusty, for the update. Well, can broiler eggs help table egg prices? There have been over 20 million commercial table shell egg-laying hens lost already in 2025, alone due to the highly pathogenic avian influenza. Losses have impacted egg supply and prices have spiked. As a stopgap measure to boost egg supplies, it has been suggested that surplus eggs from broiler hatcheries could be transferred into the egg production market, replacing shell eggs that could then be sold as fresh, helping lower prices. The surplus broiler eggs come from the occasional oversupply of hatching eggs not being able to be set to hatch. They are currently being used for animal feed products or often simply disposed of. It is estimated by the National Chicken Council that there would be an annual surplus of almost 40 million broiler eggs going into the egg-breaking supply each year. Total table egg production for 2024, over 93 billion eggs. The surplus broiler egg supply, it could provide an additional 33.6 million eggs per month, or about 0.4% of the monthly total. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more after this.
In a time of tight margins when every penny counts, could you be saving more on your monthly energy bill? Ohio Farm Bureau is here to help members get competitive electric and natural gas supply prices through its Energy Savings Program. Participants save an average of 10% on their rates. Let Ohio Farm Bureau help you take the guesswork out of energy savings. Request your free bill analysis at ofb.ag/energy program. Savings not guaranteed. Actual savings may vary.
Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for more information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished the Monday session on a mixed to mostly lower note. Soybeans were down handily. Corn was lower everywhere but the May and the July. And we saw the wheat markets a little bit stronger but well off of their highs. This finished the month and the quarter on a lower note overall as we now prepare to work into quarter number 2. The big story in the marketplace on Monday, USDA's data that came out. 2 reports that we needed to look at, the March 1st stocks numbers and prospective plantings. Let's start with the elephant in the room. That was the acreage numbers on prospective plantings. Corn acres put at 95.3 million. That's up about 5.2 million from last year's numbers. And it came out to about 1 million more acres than the average trade guess. However, it was well below the highest trade guess. I would say this is fairly close to being in line with expectations. Soybean acres came in at 83.5 million acres. That was down about 3 million from last year's number, and it wasn't too far from the average trade guess, which was 83.76. So there wasn't a lot of surprise here either. Wheat acres a little bit lower than last year at 45.35. That was a significant chunk below the average trade guess. It looks like the bulk of the losses came on spring wheat. As we kind of dive into the wheat plantings here a little bit, spring wheat is looking to be in that 10.531 million acre range. That was within the range of expectations, but it is a little bit lower than last year, and the winter wheat numbers also came in lower than the trade guesses. So that's, I think, the biggest story is the wheat acreage. That wheat probably went into, at this point, it looks like corn, particularly in some of those areas like North Dakota. We'll have to see how that gamble plays off. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Now let's take a look at your overnight trade brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. May corn 456 3/4 down a half. December new crop corn trading 441 3/4 down a quarter. May soybeans 1013 1/2 down 1 1/4. November soybeans 1017 1/2 down 1 3/4. July wheat 548 1/4 down 2 1/4. As we look to livestock from yesterday's close, April live cattle 207.80 down $1.02. June live cattle 203.65 down $1.20. April lean hogs 87.72 up $1.02. May lean hogs 88.40 down 7 cents. May feeder cattle 284.50 down 67 cents, and August feeder cattle 289.50 down 17 cents. And April Class 3 milk, $17.12, up a penny. Thanks for joining us and have a great morning, everyone. This is the Ohio AgNet.